Letter 7. Dear Storyteller, could you explain what a freedom school is again? Did they ever exist in the U.S.? Sincerely, Robert from Toronto, Canada. Yeah, freedom school this is a voluntary thing. A lot of people have knowledge of different things to meet with kids after school, and it could be in a playground, a park, somebody's home, a church basement. Sometimes you have some clergy, for instance. They're very open-minded. There are some clergy, and they're really great. They really work with a lot of radical left people. As of now, it's a small percentage. Hopefully, in the future, there'll be a major change. But we have some clergy, and they're willing to allow people to use their basements in the church and so on and so forth. And to teach kids a lot of different things that they don't know. In this case, science and art, and also to teach kids how to prepare. In this case, for how to form unions, how to form a new party, and how to vote, write letters to the Congress people, so on and so forth, how to set up peaceful demonstrations. These are certain things that are taught in these freedom schools. And in this case, we're talking about setting up a third party, a new party, revolutionary party, an economic democratic party. And that's what we're talking about. That's what a freedom school is. Did they ever exist in the United States? Yes. During the 60s, freedom schools were set up in the South. They were set up in parks, in church basements, and what they were set up to teach, because you got to understand, in the South in the 60s, African Americans weren't even allowed to register to vote. Okay, and what these freedom schools did was to get African Americans registered to vote, so that way they could vote for certain candidates that would support the Civil Rights Acts. Okay, a lot of people. Medgar Evers was killed. He was involved in these freedom schools, and there were other people that were murdered that went to the South to set up these freedom schools in Mississippi, also Alabama. Okay. So yes, we did have freedom schools, but now the freedom schools of today, the issue is not race, the issue is more class, as far as changing this type of, the market economy to work for economic democracy. Okay, this is, we don't really have too many freedom schools out there right now that's working for this. During the 60s, it was more well developed, okay? They had a specific plan, but now we're looking at a higher level. Okay, and so that's what we need to do, is to set up a type of freedom school again. Letter 8, Storyteller, I heard that you are 97 years old. Is that right? How can that be? Joan from Boston, Massachusetts. Yes, Joan, I am 97 years old. We have a great makeup artist. Matter of fact, we have two, to be honest with you. They both take turns, a female and a male, and they take turns working on me. Matter of fact, today it took 4.5 hours. Some days it'll take longer. That's why I don't look 97 years old. If you saw me without this makeup, you wouldn't even recognize me. This is not how I look. I don't look anything like this in real life. I am 97 years old. Okay. Letter 9 to the Storyteller. I am a capitalist. I have closed all my factories in the U.S. and gave pink slips to 150,000 workers. My new factories have been set up in third world countries. My company hires mostly 12-year-old females who get paid a few dollars a day. Profits are up 700%. I do not see anything wrong in doing this. Signed, a capitalist. There's a lot wrong with that. One, those are children you're taking advantage of, and even if they were adults, you were paying a few dollars a day. The type of work that they do, they can't even survive on that, and you're making up to 700% profits. And not only that, you just fired 150,000 workers in the United States who are now unemployed. There's a lot wrong with this. Okay, while you're making all this money off of other people's hard work, there's a lot of people suffering. Go to letter 10. Dear Storyteller, I really enjoyed the Marx on Lincoln episode. Did Lincoln ever write to Marx or to the Working Men's International Association? Curious, from New York City. Yes, Lincoln, this is interesting because, Marx, I mentioned, was the intellectual leader of the Working Men's International Association. Lincoln got John Adams III, that's John Quincy Adams' son, that's John Adams' grandson. I tell you, the Adams family of that time period, John Adams, John Quincy Adams, and John Adams III. And John Adams III was part of the Lincoln administration. He was in the cabinet. Super intelligent, very intelligent men. Very intelligent. Anyway, Lincoln drafted a letter, told him, what the letter was to say, and John Adams basically wrote it as dictated to him by Lincoln. And basically what the letter said that he wrote to the the Working Men's International Association. By the way, no president has ever done anything like that. Lincoln was the only one. Thanking them for what they did, for going on strike, so that way the English government had to remain neutral in the war. See, the Working Men's International Association, throughout England, they went on strike. They said they didn't want England to be on the side of the South, the English government. Okay, so they went on strike, all these workers. A lot of workers died. A lot of them suffered great punishment. Okay, some of them starved to death because they went on strike, but they did not want, they were against slavery. They didn't want the English government to, to get their cotton from the South. So, and not to take the side of the South. So what happened was, because of this, eventually the English government remained neutral. Okay, and Lincoln knew that that was very important, because if the English government was not neutral, they sent supplies to the South, maybe even troops, maybe the North would not have won the war. So Lincoln wrote a letter thanking the workers. That was never done by any president. That's an amazing thing. Yeah, he did write, and you can find it on the internet if you play around with it. You can look up Mark's letters to Lincoln, and also look up, you hit the internet there. Lincoln letter to the Working Men's International Association. Look up John Adams III, too. Okay, yeah, isn't that interesting? Yeah, by the way, Lincoln is the only president in the history of the United States. He wrote all his speeches. Okay, he didn't just come up with the idea and have other people work with. He wrote himself. Any speech you heard, the Gettysburg Address, his first inaugural speech, his second inaugural speech, any speech, he wrote it. Any saying that you heard Lincoln come up with it, he wrote it. Isn't that interesting? Letter 11. Hi, storyteller. I think you are really cute. I am a 63-year-old woman, and I was wondering if we can get together for coffee. Here's a photo of me. Oh, well, I want you to say, I hope you're not too disappointed. I know I may not look, I don't look like this in real life, okay? This is a great makeup job. So once I take this makeup off, I hope you're not too disappointed. But yeah, we'll see. Hold on. Well, here's a photo of me. Let me open this up. Okay, love, Veronica from Waterbury, Connecticut. What's this photo? Oh, my goodness. Okay, oh, censored. Oh, my goodness. Oof, a good censor it. Wow. Well, that was something. Get her, take down the phone number, call her for me. Okay, what is the four-letter, but by the way, this reminds me, boys and girls, after looking at the photo of Veronica, what is the four-letter word of the day? The word is nude, boys and girls. Nude, naked, bare, uncovered, undressed, unclothed. By the way, our roots as human beings were hunting and gathering societies. For thousands of years, boys and girls, we were naked, living in a sharing society, making decisions democratically as a group with very little inequality. Think about that. There was very little inequality. We were doing things democratically. We were going around naked. There were hardly any, here's an interesting thing, boys and girls, based on what anthropologists have documented anyway. When we were running around naked, there were hardly any rapes. Think about that. Hardly, very little sexual harassment. Isn't that something? Look at how things happen. Anyway, we're looking at it. Our roots as human beings was based on sharing, and we shared to such a degree that being naked wasn't an issue. Of course, we were, the roots of human beings. The first human beings did come from Africa. That's been shown anthropologically. And the weather was warm there. Obviously, depending on where we live, we can't go around naked. Also, the knowledge that we have today, I don't know if we ever could go back to that. But it is interesting that that's how we started. We were a sharing society, hunting and gathering, and, we were naked. Okay, our final letter, boys and girls. Hi, storyteller. I like how you begin the There Is a Place episodes with a poem. Can you explain once again what economic democracy is? Thank you, Boris from Moscow. Okay, to end the show, a radical left view movement, economic democracy. Economic democracy is the collective ownership or control by the workers of the factories, mills, mines, railroads, land, and all other apparatuses of producing. Economic democracy means producing to satisfy human needs, not as under the market economy for selling and profit. Economic democracy means true command and administration of the industries and social services by the workers through a democratic government based on their economic organization and not controlled and managed by a fraction of a percentage of the population, as in the market economy. That's how we always end the show, or we begin the show with this, boys and girls. Anyway, here's the references. Okay, this was episode 10A, Letters Special 1. See you next time, boys and girls. Bye-bye. Take care.